All right, so now we're going to go to the voicemail of Truth and Reason, and this one, again, deals with Baker Mayfield. Let's listen.
Hey, this is Jeff, longtime Browns fan. I'm not sure why people don't talk about Baker Mayfield's one huge major problem, and that's that he stares down his receivers. And I think that's the main reason why he had all the picks that he did that season, where he had 22 interceptions. When he played last year in the second half of the season, he wasn't doing that, and he was freaking amazing. That's what that kid's got to do. Don't stare down your receivers. I hope you guys pass it along. Love you guys' show. Thanks. Bye.
So, Doug, here's what and when we talked about this, and I heard this in our production meeting, my thought is when you are constantly changing systems, it's not staring down the receiver as much as it is you're kind of waiting for the play to develop to get to a certain point, and that timing comes with an understanding of what the offense is doing, and I think you're going to see that get significantly better the second year in this Kevin Stefanski system.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, that everything's just going to flow better. And even, the voicemail said, well, in the second half of last year, he didn't do it. It's like, okay, well then, okay. So then it's okay. Then it's fixed. And I don't mean to be glib about that, but it's like it's a quarterback's progress, right? And I think you're right. He hasn't been in the league that long. We all know change coaches, change offensive coordinators, and I do think there's two things that can happen, right? You can see stuff that's not there, and you cannot see stuff that is there. So like the Minkah Fitzpatrick pick in that Steelers game is like, well, he just didn't see him, and it's like, that's not great. And then there's sometimes, again, last year, I thought there were some times early when like guys were open and maybe he thought that there was safety help or something like that, and it wasn't there. And it's like, why didn't you throw that? So that's what happens when you're uncertain, and you're uncertain because it's a new system and you haven't done it very much and it's new to you and you're trying to be perfect. And so I think almost everything, we talk about the changing systems and coaches so much, but it's still a lot of what Baker Mayfield has gone through is normal, even for coaches for quarterbacks who would have had the same system. Again, I did research this last year and wrote about it. Just there's a lot of good quarterbacks who had a blippy second or third year, and that like you get in the league, it's kind of easy. The league figures you out. You kind of have like a 16 or 20 or 24 game stretch where it's like, and then you get it, and then you roll. And like Tom Brady had a year like that, and Brett Favre had a year like that, and so it's just progress. And we've watched it all play out in front of our eyes. And I think a lot of listen, Dave, we all learn throughout our lives. Do we ever stop learning? But I really think Baker's like learning process is almost done. And now it's just go time. And so what we saw in the past, I'm not applying too much to the future because I think he's graduated.
Yeah. And the other thing I would say is just keep in mind how much information you're asking a quarterback to process. Not only where his other 10 guys are, but where the other 11 guys on the field who are trying to take his head off and his teammates' head off are. So I agree with what you're saying wholeheartedly. All right.
Can I jump in? For
Absolutely.
One more thing and interrupt?
Yeah.
You guys are used to me when I do that, right?
We love when you do that. Like, you're never interrupting.
Doug, stop. I thought there were times last year, I think there's one in particular where I think some Baker picks, the other guy did it wrong, right? And there are sometimes you're throwing to a spot and the guy doesn't get to the right spot in his route, or he reads it wrong and you're throwing it outside and he's looking for it inside. There was a pick, I think, when he was throwing to Harrison Bryant last year, and it looked bad on Baker. And I, in the moment, thought like, you know what? I think Harrison Bryant might have not finished his route correctly. And then I think after the game, Harrison Bryant was like, yeah, that's on me. So I think also the offense was learning, right? That sometimes that, the first year of Odell Beckham, and then he gets hurt last year. And like Jarvis Landry's been around, but Donovan Peoples-Jones and Harrison Bryant, and they just signed Austin Hooper. And like there's some stuff that there were other moving parts that sometimes I think Baker's the guy who ended up looking like he made the mistake or was staring somebody down, but he might've been staring at somebody who like ran the wrong route. And I think that's another thing to take in consideration. And it's another thing that Andrew Berry did. He built the offense first, the defense second. So now when they're ready to roll this year, that whole offense, basically the whole offense, has an entire last season under their feet together, which is why I think a lot of those issues are not going to pop up this year.